Hello and welcome back to the Hyperspace Podcast. My name is Sam and I'm joined by the wonderful Michael Ghosh. How are you doing, Michael?
Not bad, not bad.
Good, that's good to hear. And we're joined by a special guest today by the name of Bethan Jones. How are you doing, Bethan?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Very pleased to be on here.
Awesome. It's great to have you. And we've got we thought we'd bring in a lovely special guest as we're going to be talking about the women that make up the Star Wars universe. We come to the end of the month that we spend time talking about the woman, all the good we're doing, and we thought we'd jump on the trend and incorporate into the Star Wars universe. But yeah, let's get into it and just talk about let's start with all the positive women in Star Wars because there's a lot of them. I mean, what are your standout moments or characters?
Well, I have to say we have to mention Leia. I'm a very big fan of both Leia and Padme, and I think that Leia is really, really good in making that trio glued well together. She incorporates both the really strong sort of warrior characters, which recently has become like very, very popular, but also that sort of caring nature, which is sort of typically characteristic of women. And I think she does really well to make an actual real person and a real woman in Star Wars seem very, very strong and important and really interesting character. And then I think you can say the same to Padme, even if you don't like the prequels, even if you're not a fan of the prequels, I still think you can say that Padme is a pretty brilliant character. She has this she's on the political side of things, so it shows sort of like a really strong intellectual side, which is what they look at a lot in the prequels. And then also she has this scene where she's like shooting off the drones and it looks really cool. So yeah, I think both of those done really, really well. And Michael, I'm sure you want to talk about Ahsoka.
We're going to talk about Ahsoka, the best. Yeah. I think one of the best Star Wars characters in general. I guess in comparison to Leia, although Leia, very good character. We'll talk about Ahsoka. Recent addition. Initially wasn't liked by the fans. She is kind of annoying in the first season, but she goes through this very good and emotional character arc through the whole of the Clone Wars, which culminated in a very touching moment between her and Captain Rex, where she takes his helmet off, and big sad. Yeah, it was just
big sad. Thanks for that analysis there, Michael.
It was just a very touching, very touching moment, and I just think they made her into this very likable character that I mean, she's getting a TV show for a reason. The fan base love her. She's just a very well written character, and one of the best things about the Clone Wars and Rebels and the Mandalorian as well.
Just everything she's in.
Everything she's in is gold. Yeah.
She's a fantastic character, isn't she? I agree that you just kind of at first you're kind of like you're really annoying. It's kind of like why'd you have to be there? And then by the end you have like this real like love for the character. You feel like you've seen her grow. You've seen her mature, and she's such a badass as well. I mean, I'm going to probably use that word like 100 times this episode, but she is so cool.
She benefits off being in TV shows rather than films quite a lot, because she's able to have these large character arcs, whereas Leia kind of you have to see her sort of midway through her life, so you don't get to see her grow up. But what you do see is a very well-written character who takes charge. I don't think they would have got out of the detention block if it wasn't for Leia.
No, exactly. Probably not.
But I think that it's very well done that they make it in a way that it doesn't make her annoying, because I think that could very easily have been a really annoying introduction to Leia. The fact that she's really obstinate, or the fact that she's telling these people what to do immediately when they've come to help save her, and instead they portrayed it in a way which made it slightly comedic, and then also made it seem like she actually was intelligent and making the right decisions. So I think that was done really, really well.
I think she had two very good scenes in A New Hope, which I know is Sam's favorite Star Wars film. And the two I'm going to talk about, which I think were very cool, were the first scene we sort of see her speak, which is the scene with Darth Vader, and she's not scared or anything, despite the fact Darth Vader's terrifying in A New Hope. And she just sort of stands up to him and just she's like, no, we're not rebels, despite the fact it's so obvious they are. She won't tell him anything. And also the moment with Moff Tarkin on the Death Star, where she also stands up to him and won't give him the details of the rebel base. I think that was a very good moment. And then Alderaan is blown up into little smithereens. Big sad.
That big sad. You're just gonna keep saying that every time there's a real emotional moment. You're just gonna sum it up by going big sad. But R.I.P. Bail Organa in that moment.
Oh yeah, God, I forgot about him.
That was a sad moment. But yeah, Leia she's amazing, and she's also everything good about the sequels. Pretty much, I feel like she has like so many cool moments in the sequels. Whether she's flying through space when she should be dead, or whether she's just like on crutches at the age of like 90, just shooting, like running at this ship, shooting it. I mean, she's just so cool, and she just gives everything for the cause.
Yeah, she's just, again, like you said, she's just a good character. She's just a good character, and we talked about Ahsoka, but Ahsoka and Padme both owe a lot of their characterization of being done as well as good characters to Leia. They're sort of the catalyst for at least those two characters, and I'm sure a lot of the other characters we're going to talk about.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Oh, sorry. I just think it's interesting as well. Like Leia, even if she had been, it would have obviously been different, and it wouldn't have But if he had been cast as a man and then did all these things, we still would have felt lots of admiration and respect for her. So I just think it's really good as well. Like the idea that it's not just because she's a woman and she's being strong that makes her a cool character. It's actually just all of the writing done so well for her. And I know Ahsoka and Padme as well. It's a little bit more like, I mean, actually, no, not for Ahsoka, but for Padme, it's a little bit more like, oh, and she's a woman and she doesn't actually need to be strong. She's choosing to be strong. It makes her a bit more of a good character. But I think for Leia, if she had, doesn't matter who would have cast her, the actions that she takes in the writing makes her a very likable character as well, which I think is really key point to doing a good woman character.
Yeah, I mean these I'd say these three are like probably some of the best, but then you also got others. I think in the Clone Wars, Asajj Ventress. She's such an awesome like character who has a really interesting character arc, being a Padawan, then going being an apprentice to, I think it's Dooku, and she and then like trying to kill Dooku. She's a cool character arc, and I always thought in the Clone Wars, whenever she fought Ahsoka, it was kind of like the two that have a lot to prove, or they feel like they've got a lot to prove, kind of going up to head. But she I think one of the things I love about Ventress is the way she kills people. Like, she is brutal. Like, I'm thinking back to that one Commander Colt on Camino, where she force pulls him in, stabs him through the chest, and gives him a kiss on the lips. Like, that is sick. That is like psycho.
It's just done well. And I think it's, again, the Night. We'll talk about the Night quickly. Just go on a little tangent about the Night Sisters. Like Mother Tamsin, another very good character, and the Night Sisters, I think, are very interesting as well. I just thought I'd bring that up as well, because she's really interesting, because she sort of plays both sides of the war, because she's not invested in it.
Sure.
She's able to play Count Dooku and Obi-Wan. I don't think there's very many people who played both of them. There's, maybe Cad Bane played both of them, and that's pretty much it. They were able to like sort of manipulate both of them into doing what they want. But they are. The Night Sisters are so cool. Like, the way they just plan, like, their plan for killing Dooku, the way they just kind of went like invisible. That is so sick. I mean, they do fail because Dooku just kind of, he can't really see him, and he's just still like fighting them all three of them. But yeah, the Night Sisters are so cool, and I think
the animated shows Clone Wars and Rebels have some really sick female characters. Bethan, I know you love Rebels, so like Harrison Dula, it's just an awesome character. And then there's how have I forgotten her name? The artist,
Sabine Wren.
Sabine Wren. I get her mixed up with Bo-Katan, but yeah, Sabine Wren doing her vandalism. She's really sick as well.
Yeah, I very much agree. I think what makes Hera especially is one of my favorites is that she takes on this sort of mothering role, but not in a way that makes her like a minor character, or not in a way that makes her like a more diminished character. She still has to be the pilot. She still has to be a strong leader in the group, but then also she has to care for all of the people, and it makes it seem like that isn't actually a weakness. That's actually quite a strength, that she looks after both the characters on the ship and also the ship itself. So I think that was done really, really well, in a way that they're like, oh no, she doesn't have to be some emotionless, badass woman that's fighting. She can still be like a really interesting and good character by just having real emotions.
Yeah, I agree. I also I really hope. I'm pretty sure she is in the new shows, or she will make an appearance.
She's rumored to again, we don't know, but she's rumored to replace Cara Dune as the sort of I guess the Republic, as one of the people in the New Republic show. She was in the new Star Wars game Squadrons,
Yes.
relatively new, so it's likely she'll be in it. And I think sort of the fact that at least fans are saying that this is going to happen sort of shows that she has this enduring appeal, again, like Ahsoka, where they're transitioning from a TV show into other facets of the fandom, I guess.
Yeah, no, she should make an appearance. Not like maybe not just in Knights of the New Republic, but in I think that's but also in Ahsoka. Like it wouldn't surprise me if she's in both those shows, because her relationship with Ahsoka through Rebels and her and Sabine Wren could make her appearances in both those shows. I think Sabine will appear in Ahsoka and probably in the new show as well.
It's likely it'll be both of them, especially after the end of Rebels, where they're going off to find Ezra. I'd imagine if now Ahsoka's sort of got a clue about Grand Admiral Thrawn, or she's on the right track, she'll sort of call on the other people who are from Rebels who are trying to hunt down Ezra as well.
Yeah, no, that would be so cool if they are incorporated. Like, you'd have so many strong female characters, and then they can hopefully they also bring in like new ones in the new shows, like, because we love the old favorites, but then it's awesome to find a new character that you can kind of fall in love with, and that you can be like, yeah, you are so awesome. Trying to think of the other. There are so many to name, and there are so many strong female characters. You've got Jyn Erso as well, in a film that I love. I know Bethan doesn't quite share that love for it, but in an awesome film. I think her character. It's quite sad, her story. It's quite tragic with her seeing her mum die, her dad's getting taken away to work for the Empire, seeing her dad die in her arms. And it's all very emotional, and then her like dying at the end. But I still think she's really strong in that. She doesn't take crap from anybody. She will just she shoots her way out of her problems. She's quite a volatile character, but she's awesome, and I really enjoy her.
Yeah, I really agree. And there was a really interesting interview actually with the director of Rogue One called I think it's Gareth Edwards. And he was talking about like how he copied what Ridley Scott did for Alien, which is where they wrote the character as if it was a man or a woman. They didn't differentiate. And then Ridley Scott actually cast Sigourney Weaver for that part, and that just made her really, really epic, because there were no like extra moments made to try to be like, oh, this is a woman. So like there wasn't any like silly breakdowns or something to try to make her seem I don't know, like be like, oh no, we are actually writing a female character. And instead of that making her a badly written character, instead made her very, very strong, and everyone really enjoys watching Alien, I think, for that. And they did in the same way. They tried to make it that they weren't being like, oh, we're writing this so that it's identifiable as a woman from the script, and instead wrote it like it could be a man or a woman, and in that just made her so strong and being able to get through all of her problems without making it like we need to show vulnerability in order to make her real. And instead she seems like a really real character, seems like I think Rogue One, even though I don't like the movie exactly, I do really enjoy the way that they did Jin for the movie.
Yeah. That is. I think that's how you should really write it. I think that should be the template for writing. They shouldn't be like having to put extra thought and think, oh, how can we make it a woman character? They should be thinking, how can we make it the coolest character? With a great story, and then it's quite easy. And then if they need to tweak a few things, they can. But that's how they just make a cool character and think about the gender of the character necessarily later. Someone that had a lot of potential. And I know Michael is not. It doesn't enjoy the sequels, but we've got Ray Palpatine. Michael, what do you think about Ray?
I think maybe you used the correct word, potential.
Yeah,
I think it's just she's just a poorly written character who's got Daisy Ridley, very good actress, played the role very well, but the script just wasn't helping her, and it's like we talked about Finn, and we talked about him having so much potential. It's just they seem to not know how to write characters. They know how the dialogue's not too bad actually in the sequels compared to the prequels, but and a lot of people will say, well, the prequels aren't as good. But the thing the prequels did well is that the characters are likable, even if the dialogue's a bit, clunky. That you can see that these characters have emotions and are reacting in a realistic way, but they're not. But they're still written they're still written as cool characters. Like Padme has this is like an emotional character who has it's not just a cold person who just does cool things and shoots stuff. They have a clear emotional arc. And again, we talked about it before on the podcast, which is they didn't seem to know what they wanted to do with Rey, and that's the problem. And I think that's why maybe we talk about Ahsoka, we talk about Leia, we talk about Padme. They got from point A to point B, or I guess with Ahsoka, they haven't quite finished getting to the end of her story. But we've got a point A and a point B where we know that they kind of end up, and they've done an arc that we all enjoy. I think we all like how Leia developed during the original trilogy. She didn't change too much, but we see her sort of get more further into being into the Rebel Alliance and being, this leader figure. We see that far more clearly as we go through the films. And with Padme, we also sort of see this where she's young and inexperienced, but she's determined and passionate. And we see how she develops from being a sort of, I guess, inexperienced leader to being a very strong political character who understands how to play politics and understands the world of politics. Especially in the Clone Wars, we see her understanding how politics works. So I think potential is the correct word for Rey. She just didn't meet it.
Sure. Yeah. She's. It's frustrating because I think she has a lot of. I think she has a lot of cool moments, and there are definitely moments in the sequels where you're like, wow, such a cool character. And I think, to be fair, Daisy Ridley played her really well. I don't think it's anything on Daisy Ridley. It's not her fault. She's an awesome actor, and it was just poor writing and direction. But I think the cool moments that she has, her. I'm thinking why am I forgetting everything all of a sudden? But in number 7, just her getting the lightsaber from the snow. You know, that's a really cool moment, and you see her like her force lightning in number 9, and they're all cool moments. But if anything, it's like you see the potential there, and it makes you even more frustrated that they just couldn't. I don't think they could get the best out of her.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. And also just the fact that it seems that she got those gifts so easily. I mean, like, if you look at the original trilogy, the amount of work and training that Luke went through to be able to get to the skill. And then the first battle that he has with Darth Vader, he fails. And that's showing, like, we've seen that he's put all of this work and all this effort into it. And we're rooting for him to win. And he doesn't win right away because he can't win right away. And yet, Rey, who's never had any formal training before, he suddenly gets the lightsaber and she beats Kylo Ren. How does that, like, it doesn't make any sense. It just makes her, this word that's been thrown around recently, a Mary Sue, which means that she's just unbelievably, like, unlikable in that sense, because we think you've got this amazing power and these amazing gifts and you haven't done any work towards it. And I think it's that silly way that the wires have been crossed, where it's like, if we want a strong character, we have to make sure that if we want a strong female character, we have to make sure that they don't show any weakness. And what that means is that she doesn't have a character arc. It's just not. I don't think you can really debate that she develops across the course of the films, because I don't know, I did not see that she developed. And if you look at our favorite characters, or if you look at the characters that you did enjoy watching, they always have, like, they go through trials and they work hard, and then eventually you get a reward that you think that they've earned, which I don't think happened with Rey. I mean, you can disagree, but I don't know.
I think I'd agree with this. You said about how Rey sort of just is good, and we're going to talk about Ahsoka quickly. We look at Ahsoka. She starts very cocky. She kind of thinks she has these powers and she's special and she can do everything. And then she, like, in the when she takes command of a squadron, she immediately loses everyone except from 1 or 2 pilots. And it's like a learning moment for her, where she realizes, oh wait, I'm not as special as and not powerful as I thought I was. And she's someone who's gone through formal Jedi training, so she has some ability. Or we look at, I guess, even we talk about Padme, Leia. They also don't just start as these perfect characters. They kind of make mistakes and they grow, and that's what we like seeing in any character, whether it's male, female. You know, we just want to see a character go from point A to point B. I mean, there's only, if they're main characters and they're present through the whole series, we need to see this arc from, you know, point A to B. I mean, you see it with Obi-Wan as well. He goes from being this sort of naive kid in the Phantom Menace to being this old wise man who's trying to correct the mistakes he made not teaching Anakin correctly.
Yeah,
and that's a character arc, and we see the emotional impact of that. And it's the same with any of the other good characters. I think we're talking about. It's, they go from a point A and a B, and they have this nice arc, and we enjoy the story and the characters because we respect what they've had to go through to get to their end point, I guess.
Yeah, no, totally. I think that's the biggest complaint most people have with the sequels, is that just Rey just kind of rocks up and is immediately amazing. Like, she doesn't have to go through any real trials, tribulations. She just rocks up, and all of a sudden, she's just a great fighter. She's had no prior training, but then all of a sudden she's an incredible duelist. Me and Michael have talked about the weighting of a lightsaber before, and how hard it is, because it's like the hilt is quite heavy, but then the actual blade is like quite light, so it takes quite a lot of getting used to in combat, and she's just like really strong already, and that's not how the world works. And then you can't just explain it away by going, oh, she's a Palpatine. It makes sense. You can't really explain it away by saying that. You need to see her going through this training, and that's one of the big frustrating moments of the sequels.
Yeah, exactly.
it's frustrating. I think that's what sums up. Again, it's lack of character arc, frustrating, and then it's just they think about the character being female too much instead of just think about them being good characters, because that's all we want. That's all we want. I think Sam agree. We just want good characters, good story, and some fun moments, some funny moments, a bit of humor.
Definitely. Sorry.
No, sorry, what were you going to say?
No, I was just saying I agree. Yeah, I completely agree with you, Michael.
And I completely agree as well. And I think it's this I don't know, stupid idea that Kathleen Kennedy is pushing, which is one of the producers, and she's insistent that they're not allowed to. That she says that we shouldn't cater the way that we do our movies to the general audience that are watching it. So basically, she wants to push like feminist manifesto in her movies without getting any consideration to all the fans and all the people, what people actually want to see. She's not making she actually released as a statement that she's not going to change the writing to what people actually want to see. She talks really proudly in all of her interviews about how there's like 5 out of 8 of the writers are women, and there has that they're pushing towards and that they've picked people just because they're women rather than picking people because they have an interest and they have a passion for the Star Wars universe. And that I feel like if you listen to that makes sense for why that these movies flopped, because they don't take into consideration, and also that would make sense for why they literally just copy of the previous the previous original trilogy, because they were so focused on the idea of, oh yeah, let's make these strong, cool women in this, so that when people think of the Star Wars universe, they'll think of women rather than thinking, let's make a really good movie that the fans will enjoy. And I just think that is the fall of Star Wars, if people think that you have to focus on putting a political message rather than actually good storyline.
Yeah, I think Kathleen Kennedy at the helm of Star Wars she's definitely a controversial figure. So like some of the stuff she says is divides opinion. A lot of people don't like her, and it's fair enough. Like she's a lot of people say it's her fault for ruining the sequels. Of course, some people like them. We're not saying you can't like them, but I know all of us don't really. They're not our favourite films. And Michael laughing there. That's he definitely doesn't like the sequels. But one of the positive things she's done though is like we've now got all these shows. Like that is awesome. Like we admittedly she's done a lot of wrong, but now we've got lots of shows, we've got lots of movies. They used to come out every 20 years and you'd have a massive break between films, and now they're coming out every few years, or like we're getting shows a few times a year. And surely that positive that awesome scheduling and having so much Star Wars is good, right? I mean, Michael, you're disagreeing?
I'm disagreeing with the fact that it's Kathleen Kennedy. We all know who it is. It's Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau single-handedly saving Star Wars. Both of, well, I guess double-handedly, but they're the reason why we have Dave Filoni is the reason we have Ahsoka, and is the reason why Ahsoka is getting a show. He's single-handedly probably done more for strong female characters than Kathleen Kennedy by making Ahsoka and Hera and Sabine Wren. I think that's my point is he's created more, but he's also created quality.
Yeah,
and I think that's the thing. It's not we obviously want more female characters, but it's not, we don't want just quantity. We want really good characters, because that's all we care about. We don't really care what gender they are. We just want good, well-written characters. And I think I disagree with the statement that it's Kathleen Kennedy we have to thank. I'm going to thank Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau for being geniuses and understanding what Star Wars fans want, but not catering towards us. Just understanding what Star Wars is.
Sure. I mean, Fair enough for putting everything about Kathleen Kennedy in the mud there.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to give her some credit. I know a lot of it is to do with Favreau and Filoni, but at the same time, there are things she's done which have been good. Like she was the one who brought Jon Favreau on board. Like,
well, there we go. That's the best decision I've ever heard. Obviously she's done good stuff. I'm just saying, I think they deserve a lot of thanks for what's happened with Star Wars and how it's basically even if she's the one who's hired them, they've ultimately fixed had fixed the fan base and joined us as a fan base rather than 2 fan bases or 3 fan bases even.
Yeah.
Well, actually, probably 3 fan bases because but yeah, I think it's again, The Mandalorian did a lot of good for unifying the fan base. And yeah, I want to see more female characters in The Mandalorian. I mean, we have Cara Dune, who up in arms what's going to happen with that, but it'd be nice to see, brand new female characters that are being written with character arcs in mind. We have Bo-Katan from the Clone Wars. It'd be nice to see more new characters who are of that sort of caliber of character where they are just good characters.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and without that forcing, like, look at what they've done to Ocean's 11 and Ghostbusters. Like, without that, it just ruins it. And I think if you're purposely forcing this idea that you need to have loads of women in major franchises in order to get women to watch it, then I think that's just bullshit. Like, look at The Mandalorian. It attracted so many people because of Baby Yoda. You just have to have a character that the general masses can feel empathy towards, and then that's fine. You didn't, like, imagine if they made the main Mandalorian a woman, or they just like forcibly put in something and then therefore gave them like a bullshit storyline where they're justifying themselves being a woman, or they're taking a minute to be like, I'm a strong independent woman. It would just I think it would just subtract from the importance and the goodness of the story. And I just think that that's maybe a problem, or we all identify that as a problem at the moment, is this just sort of like artificially crowbarring women into a position, like into a thing to say that we've got a female main character, and instead of focusing on actually, we want the writing, we want the storyline to be really good, or that we want them to actually make sense in this storyline. Like looking at Finn worked really, really well because it didn't matter. She wasn't there as a statement. She was there because of her background gave her a really interesting position to be that. And I feel like her sacrifice at the end was actually warranted, because we had all this build up of all this like sort of pain and stuff that she went through. Like, I don't agree with all the sacrifices that were made in Rogue One, but I think that the way that they did Finn, and I just think, like if we in the new Star Wars franchises, really hope that they don't put like 10 programs where we've got like every single one there's a female main character for just the purpose that they're female. Instead of it being, well, actually, they're important to the story in this way.
Yeah, I think that's becoming a problem with Hollywood, as you say. I think it's now becoming a here are some tick boxes. Do we have a female main character? Yeah, like it's becoming a lot like that. And realistically, things should be written and actors should be cast for ability, not for their gender, not for their race. I think me and Michael touched on this in a previous podcast, but it's one of the problems. Like, films don't need to be rebooted with like and replace your main male lead with a female character. I'm thinking of Bond here, specifically. I know it's a bit of a tangent, but you don't need a female. Like, it's James Bond. Like, it's I know they can kind of replace it with a female lead, just 007. But why don't you just go make a different spy movie, like which has a female lead? Like, you can just write you don't have to like take what's already there, which is and then make it make it just so they can have a woman in it, just so they can like look good and be like, look, we done this for the woman, when realistically they've just done it so they can look good and say, look, I've made a female film that used to be all about men. And it's just like, it's definitely frustrating. You should write female characters because you can have awesome female characters. You can have you can do so much with them, and it shouldn't be. It's becoming so much tick boxing, and it's luckily in the Star Wars universe we have a lot of strong female characters that we talked about. But then recent writings worrying because they haven't really written the female characters well, apart from Leia, who you couldn't really get wrong. But so it's worrying. But hopefully with Favreau and Filoni, as we've said, they know how to write female characters, and hopefully there's a lot of promise for women in the Star Wars universe.
I think there is this huge potential for Star Wars female characters. I mean, look at it. It's not if they're well written, they're going to go further. I mean, we're going to go back to Ahsoka because it's relevant with the Ahsoka show being, relevant. I think that's the show. One of the shows I'm the most excited about. I want to see more now. Now we've seen Ahsoka. I mean, I feel like we all kind of crave more of the characters we like. I mean, look at how people reacted when Luke Skywalker showed up in The Mandalorian. Everyone really enjoyed that. Or or like when the Night Sister, oh my God, Bo-Katan showed up in The Mandalorian as well. That was great. I was like freaking out when I saw that, and my dad was confused because he hasn't seen the Clone Wars. But it was exciting I think for us who like these characters and want to see them do well, and we want these new characters to be done so that we can see it happen again.
Yeah, totally. No, I agree. I think that wraps up our discussion. Last of all, let's go. Who are your favourite female characters? Bethan, I'll start with you. Who is your favourite?
I think my favourite is Padme, because she has the emotional side, she has the political side, and then she also shows, warrior strength. So I think she's very rounded and very good.
Sure. Michael?
Yeah, good choice. I mean, would you be surprised if I say Ahsoka? Well written, had a very touching character arc. I mean, again, I cried when I saw her take Rex's helmet off, and it was just see a tear going down his face. And again, she was able to be this very sensitive, caring character without it just being because she's a woman. It's because it was necessary to have that emotional connection to the clones, and she was there and she did that. And I mean, she's just a badass when a lot of the time as well. And she's not just a cool character, she's also a very well written character who's able to be emotional and isn't just this cold, just badass character for the sake of being badass. She's badass because she's worked up to it, and she's trained, and she's learned from Anakin Skywalker, the most powerful of the Jedi.
Yeah, no, that's not very surprising that you've gone for Ahsoka, but yeah, she's definitely she's close to mine. But I'm going to go for Princess Leia again. Not a surprising choice, bear in mind my love for A New Hope and all the originals. But yeah, she is so sassy. She doesn't take no crap from anyone, And then, but she's also this lovely, caring character, and you just love her. I mean, throughout Star Wars, in the sequels, I remember just when she died, I think I was in bits. I was in tears just because she'd also died in real life, and just for me that had a real emotional impact. But yeah, that wraps our discussion. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Michael and Bethan, for joining me.
Thank you for having both of us.
No worries. And comment below. Who's your favorite female character? What are your favorite female moments? Yeah, let us know. Thank you for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.